I wanted to say where I was at September 11th. I was coming back from South Africa, the World Conference Against Racism. We were the last plane to land in New York. We landed at 8:46 a.m. And the interesting thing was we had been out there for about a week. I was part of a delegation called Third World Within, but I was also helping to organize the Black August concerts out in South Africa. Has anybody heard about Black August? Because we're in August. And this is the month that we celebrate not only a concert, but we really celebrate the life of George Jackson in particular and the brothers in San Quentin prison system. And it's interesting, I was at a conference this past weekend with a person that's going to come up here in a second and speak, and one of the brothers got up and said, until we merge the prison culture back with the street culture, we'll keep going to prison. And that was an interesting statement, right? Because it's real, because so many of our people are locked up. And when they come out, they don't have options and they don't have choices. And for me, this is not something I write about or theorize about. I'm married to a man who has a conviction. I'm married to a man who we had to spend $3,000 for him to get his right to vote back in New York. So all of us in the Green Party come from some real places, And when I was coming back, we were in the air and we were landing as the first plane hit the tower. And all I could remember was what the people were saying at the World Conference Against Racism, that the United States empire could no longer function, that the 100,000 people plus that were at this conference were pretty clear that the United States government was the ill to most of their suffering. And in fact, while we were there, the United States government decided to walk out the minute the reparations issue came on the table with over 1,000 signatures. And that's when Colin Powell got up from the conference and walked out. And that's when the United States left the conference. And then the second most issue that people were talking about was about the Palestinian right to self-determination. And we're pretty clear from recent speeches that really only the Green Party out of all the parties are for the right of return to Palestinian people and the right to self-determination. And that also hits home for a lot of us who know Sister Suhair Hamad, who's been an organizer, but a comrade in the struggle, a black Palestinian woman who said if she wasn't filming another movie, that she'd be here. So that's my memory of September 11th. But also my memory of that is a week later going to a big event that Kevin Powell had, and where April Silver said, we no longer live in a world before 9/11. And how true that has been, whether it regards civil liberties, the signing of the FISA bill that gives people telecommunications immunity, that Obama supported, but even Hillary Clinton didn't. And when we look at some of these artists in this room, know that Rebel Diaz or Umi from POW or Didon have all been arrested and brutalized by the police. Our latest brutalization victims are Rebel Diaz for trying to support an immigrant worker. 5 years ago, Dead Prez was arrested for shooting a video in Brooklyn. So when we think about post-September 11 in the world that we live in, the lack of not only civil liberties but human rights, I just want to read the 10 key values of the Green Party. And then, of course, I would like to bring up George Martinez and DJ Chella to say some words. But 10 key values that we have in the Green Party are grassroots democracy, social justice and equal opportunity, ecological wisdom, nonviolence. Wouldn't that be something amazing? Decentralization, community-based economics. And we know where that comes from. That's reminiscent of what the Black Panthers and the Young Lords did. Feminism, yes, and gender equity, respect for diversity, personal and global responsibility, and future focus and sustainability. As of this date, the Green Party is the only party that has 10 key values, but particularly one that affects African American, Latino, Asian, and indigenous people: social justice. And when we think about the word social justice, the fact that we don't have any other party but the Green Party saying those words speaks volumes to me. It speaks, and it should speak volumes to all of us, particularly for our children. I want Alicia to know that there's a Green Party that respects her as a woman and as a human being and as a young person who has rights.